Welcome to Chapter 1 of Upcycling the American Dream, the story of Hamilton v. Vortic. I'm RT Custer. Today in this chapter, I'm interviewing and discussing with Tyler Wolfe, my business partner, documenting the story of how we started Vortic Watch Company, all the ideas we had on the golf course back at Penn State over a decade ago, and our Kickstarter campaign, and just how much we barely knew what we were doing because we were just a couple of kids with an idea. Stay tuned to the end where I let you know the best way to follow along if you want to learn more and see Chapter 2. This whole thing is a collection of stories that mostly start with us being on the golf course.
It's true. It's a pattern.
It is a pattern. And like Rob said earlier, I think we need to actually go play golf more.
It's true.
Because good things happen. They're all good things.
We have good ideas on the golf course.
Yeah. That's where this whole thing came from. So we had, was it 2011? Something like that.
2011, I think, is when we actually filed an LLC in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Well, I believe we met in 2010.
2010, which is 14 years ago. 13 years ago.
Thereabouts.
Wow. And we were running the other business together, which was fun. And then...
we met through an internship.
Yep. And then we went out at Penn State and played golf. Did we play the white course?
The white course, yeah.
Yep.
We couldn't afford the blue course.
Blue course, way out of budget. So we were playing the white course, and we had a bunch of ideas about watches.
Yeah, and I personally was a watch enthusiast. Mm-hmm. You know, I would buy Timexes, Chinese watches, weird light-up watches, you know, junk, trinkets.
Yep.
But, you know, I felt weird if I didn't have a watch on.
And I remember asking you about that because I was the opposite. I had one or two watches that I got as gifts, and I pretty much never wore them unless it was like a really nice occasion. And I definitely didn't wear anything on my wrist when I played golf. And so, yeah, that just started this whole conversation and technically started the company back then in school.
Right, and you were studying engineering. So You were very interested in the mechanics of different ways of improving the watch wearing experience.
Yep.
We'll say.
Yeah, and then we were dabbling in metal 3D printing at the time, which just was really, really cool and super cutting edge and is still fascinating. I mean, we did a bunch of stuff with those ideas in college, but nothing ever really got far. And then when I moved here to Colorado, you were just like, hey, I was already thinking about moving to Colorado, and I was like, well, I got another spot in my house. We could totally, maybe we could try to restart or launch this watch company that we've been talking about at that point for a couple of years. And I had a great job at the time, so it's just like, okay, well, maybe I can be some financial support and literal roof over our heads, and you can try to start Vortic Watch Company.
Yeah, I think so. I moved here into your basement.
Yep.
In 2014.
I tried to make it sound. I tried to set you up for that. As at a room in the house, but yes,
it was free. That was cool.
Tiny room in the basement. Yeah.
I was running a small business on the side, but mostly I spent my days just kind of playing with CAD models, working on the video. I mean, I had a crappy laptop. It would take all night to render the video. So if I did something wrong and it rendered wrong, I had to start the whole process over again. Yep. I remember 5 days leading up to our first Kickstarter, just waiting for my computer.
Yep. And do you remember when we were filming the Kickstarter, I forget why we decided on Kickstarter, but we were like, okay, we're going to launch the company on Kickstarter. Do you remember when we were sitting just like this when we were filming Kickstarter, and I think we had to put a blanket over the computer because it was running. We had the computer here to have notes on what we were talking about.
Yep. We had a script, a hard script.
We did have a script.
Which is something we don't do very often these days.
Terrible idea. And the computer was running so loud that we put a freaking blanket over it so that you couldn't hear it. It was a mess.
Right, this is in the garage in winter in Colorado.
Yep. We filmed it in late October, early November 2014. we launched on Kickstarter November 17, 2014.
Yep.
And we launched the American Artisan Series.
Yep. Yeah, I think we didn't know much about watches. Like we knew very little about watches when we started this. We kind of had to learn what is a mechanical, what is quartz,
Yep.
what are complications, what makes a watch nice, what makes a watch cheap.
Mm-hmm.
But I think both of us were just immediately drawn to the pocket watches. You could just tell.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't have to know anything about watches to see that and see it's something special.
Yeah, you look at an American pocket watch, and the first question is just like, how the heck did they make this 100 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
From an engineering standpoint, I feel like. And so, yeah, that was, I mean, that's, you said we also, I forgot this, we also had the idea for the American Artisan Series on a golf course here.
Exactly. Collindale.
Yep. Shout out to Collindale and Fort Collins. And, yeah, we got to play golf more. We have these great ideas. So we had the concept, and it was, all right, let's take an antique American pocket watch, the guts of it, the movement dial and hands, and then we can make the case, the crown, the hardware, everything
Specifically
outside.
3D printed was a big part of the concept.
Yeah, we used X1 back then, but we were 3D printing the case. And the first, 300 watches we made were 3D printed metal. At some point, we switched to titanium, but
Yeah, maybe more, but
300.
every watch was 3D printed.
Yeah. And so we put that idea on Kickstarter. And just for anyone who's not Kickstarter is, we had 30 days. We set our goal at 10,000. Mm-hmm. And we basically said, if we can make $10,000 off of pre-orders of these products or the idea for this product in 30 days or less, then we'll actually start the company and figure out how to do it. Right. And I think at that point we said it would take us 3 to 6 months to make them and ship them.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't disclose the fact that the prototypes and the watch that we used for photos and videos and pictures was glued together.
Yep, super glue. It was good glue.
Very super glue.
We got it at Ace Hardware.
Yeah. And I mean, we took an old pocket watch crown and glued it on there.
You remember the original lever cover? Because we said we were going to do railroad editions from the beginning.
Oh, no, I don't.
Look at the Kickstarter campaign. You have to. It's a mess.
That'd be a blast.
So we need to go through it before we do our next one. But it was minimum viable product. You know, when you think about now that we know
we had a lot of
about
belief.
business. Yeah, we were using our minimum viable product to try to accomplish product market fit and try to prove to ourselves and potential investors and customers that okay, if we can get pre-orders of this product on Kickstarter before it exists, and people are willing to part with their money months before this product is even made, then this is probably a good idea. And people will buy these when they actually exist. That's the point of Kickstarter. And I don't remember the exact number, but I think it was 41,000-ish.
Just over 40, yeah.
That we raised in 30 days from random humans on the internet. Some of our friends and family that we begged to support us.
Yeah, I mean, we got some really good support from our friends and family.
For sure.
But I think you and I were both completely blown away by the amount of strangers that bought these watches.
I remember somebody we'll have to look up his name because he bought more watches since, but from Australia, he bought all 3. He brought the set.
I remember that, yeah.
And I remember getting that order on Kickstarter, and I was like, dude, from Australia, how does this even happen, you know? So that was November of 2017. So basically November 17, 2014. So mid-December of 2014, we had a successful Kickstarter. And so then early 2015, we would put our heads down and figure out how to make these watches.
Yeah, I mean, the whole concept was we can do lots of different kinds of watches because we were using 3D printing and could easily make one of something. Mm-hmm. And I think at that point, you and I were both more focused on website, marketing, branding, running a business, and not so focused on product.
Yeah.
So when that became a reality, that was a big challenge. We thought we were going to basically place an order, parts would show up, we'd put them together and we'd ship them out. Turns out there's a lot more to building a watch.
Who would have thunk it?
Not me.
That's perfect. Okay, chapter 2. It's important to note that all the viewpoints, stories, and facts shared in these chapters are coming from me, myself, and I, Robert Thomas Custer. They are mine alone and are not shared by Vortic LLC, Vortic Watch Company, and its related parties. For our full legal description and our full legal disclaimer, go to vorticwatches.com/victory. You'll also find at that link a special offer and a link to pre-order our upcoming book. Again, vorticwatches.com/victory.